So, what if your project is worth $1 billion? Kids don't owe you anything. They can throw their toys anywhere they like. That was my sister's voice. Cold, sharp, almost mocking, right after her son slammed his toy truck straight into my laptop screen. I'm Michael Grant, and that exact second was when my family stopped feeling like my family. The screen went dark. A thin crack stretched across it like a fault line splitting everything apart. My work, 3 long years of late nights, contracts, coding, investor presentations, all gone in one careless hit. I kept staring at the broken laptop still sitting open on the dining table. No one even reacted. My parents didn't bother to look at it. "You shouldn't have left it where a kid could reach," my father said in a calm voice. My mother quietly agreed. "You know how children are." My sister gave a small smile. "Don't be so dramatic, Mike. You can just get another one." Get another one. That laptop held the only local version of a prototype investors were flying in to see on Monday. There was no cloud backup, no duplicate, no safety copy. I had been careful in every other place except here, in my own home, with them. I slowly stood up. My hands were trembling, but my voice stayed steady. "You know that laptop was my work." My sister just shrugged. "Work is work. Family should always come first." That's when I turned and walked into the garage. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was focused. I picked up a hammer from the workbench and felt its weight settle into my hand. Solid. Real. Certain. Behind me, I heard my mother's nervous laugh. "Michael, what are you doing?" I turned back toward the house. And when they saw what I was holding, when they understood what I was ready to protect and what I was willing to destroy instead, their smiles slowly disappeared. I didn't go back in right away. I stood at the edge of the garage, hammer in hand, staring through the glass doors. My family was still acting like nothing had happened, still laughing like my laptop was nothing important. To them, it was just another thing, just another object. But to me, it was everything. They thought I wouldn't react because I never had before. I was always the quiet one. The one who paid their bills without complaining. The one who took my nephew to soccer practice. The one who fixed my dad's car whenever it broke down. The one who lent my mother money when she forgot her credit card payments. The one who bought groceries for my sister when she said her government check was late again. I had always been there. But the $1 billion project, that was mine. The one thing I kept separate. The one thing I never allowed them to touch. Until now. I stepped back inside. I walked right past all of them. And without even pausing, I brought the hammer down and smashed the already broken laptop into pieces on the dining table. The sound was loud, like an explosion in a quiet room. Everyone jumped. "Michael!" my mother shouted. My sister dropped the glass she was holding. "Are you insane?" I didn't move. I stood there looking down at what used to be my life's work, still holding the hammer. The room became completely silent. "You think I care about this machine?" I said quietly. "You really think that's what I'm upset about?" They stared at me, confused. I pointed at the broken pieces on the table. "I'm not mourning this. I'm mourning the years I wasted believing this house was safe. Believing you people were safe." Then I turned around and walked straight out the front door. I wasn't just leaving the house. I was leaving everything behind. That night, I stayed at a small, cheap hotel. No laptop, no chargers, no distractions. Just 4 plain walls, a notepad, and the heavy silence that comes after betrayal. By then, I wasn't even thinking about the lost work anymore. I was thinking about myself. About the version of me who allowed all of this for years. That version of Michael was gone. It ended the moment that laptop shattered. The next morning, I started cutting ties. I removed myself from the shared family phone plan. I canceled all the streaming services they were using under my name. I stopped the automatic payment for my sister's rent. But that was just cleaning up the surface. The real move was something else. I activated something I had built years ago and almost forgot about. Project Raft. It was a fail-safe system, a backup plan I created when I first started pitching to investors. A private cloud mirror that quietly synced with my development drive whenever I connected to certain networks. I never told anyone about it, not even my co-founder. That morning, I went to a public library and used one of their computers. My heart was racing as I logged in. And then I saw it. Everything was there. Every file. Every line of code. Every document. Even the pitch deck. I leaned back in the chair, let out a long breath, and smiled for the first time in a full day. I didn't need apologies from my family. I didn't need explanations. I needed space. I needed a clean stage. When I opened my inbox and saw the calendar invite from Ventureline Capital confirming the Monday meeting, I understood something clearly. Nothing had been taken from me. Instead, everything I didn't need had been removed right before the moment it mattered most. And now, I was going to walk forward alone. Sunday morning, I walked into the investor pitch carrying nothing but a flash drive, confidence, and a clear mind. No noise, no distractions, no family drama. Just me and the thing I had built with years of effort. The room was quiet, filled with serious faces in expensive suits. No one was talking. No one was smiling. They were waiting. And this time, for the first time in my life, I wasn't carrying anyone else with me. I recognized 3 of them from LinkedIn. 2 of them had already turned down my pitch about 6 months earlier, but now all of them were leaning in, paying close attention. The second I began speaking, everything just fell into place. The prototype demo ran perfectly, not a single glitch. The financials landed exactly how I planned. By the time I explained the long-term roadmap, I could already see their expressions changing. Respect, maybe even a bit of surprise. After the Q&A ended, one of the senior partners leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Why did your last pitch go silent, Michael? We thought you disappeared on us." I looked straight at him. "Family issues got in the way. I've handled that now." He gave a small nod. Ben smiled slightly and said, "Let's discuss numbers." By that same afternoon, I was holding a signed term sheet. A $14 million seed round. No family problems, no distractions, no chaos. I walked out of that meeting, got into my car, and just sat there for 10 minutes. I wasn't crying, just breathing, taking it all in, realizing that silence can be powerful when it finally belongs to you. But what I did next had nothing to do with business. It was personal. I still had keys to my sister's apartment. She never bothered to change the locks, even after everything that happened. And inside that apartment were many things she seemed to forget I had paid for. The TV, the couch, the washing machine, the dryer, even the fridge. If I was done supporting them, then it was time to take it all back. Slowly, piece by piece. She wasn't home when I got there. A sticky note was stuck on the door. "Back by 5. Don't lock the bottom." Just like her. I stepped inside and stood in the middle of the living room. That couch, I paid for it. The smart TV, my card, the kitchen appliances, every single one of them bought by me. And now that I had stopped paying her rent, eviction was only a matter of time. But I wasn't being cruel. I was being exact. I hired 2 movers that same day. Even they were surprised at how simple it was. "Just take what's on this list," I told them, handing over a detailed list with receipts attached. Every item was purchased by me. No shared ownership, no confusion. She had never paid me back. By the time she walked in at 5:07, the place looked completely empty. The living room was stripped clean. Only the rental carpet remained, along with a single folding chair and a utility bill lying on the floor. Her eyes went wide. "What the hell is this?" she shouted. I stayed calm. "You didn't want to respect my boundaries. Now you get to live inside them." She tried to argue, but I handed her copies of every receipt. "This isn't revenge," I told her quietly. This is me taking back what's mine. She called my mother, then my father, then basically everyone. My phone kept ringing non-stop. I didn't pick up because at that exact moment, I was finalizing my co-founder agreement with a new partner, someone who respected my work, someone who wasn't family. And right as I sent the signed document, a message appeared on my phone. It was from Dad. We need to talk. I didn't reply right away. I let the message sit there on the screen, glowing like a warning. For years, I always responded the second they needed me. Not this time. I took a shower, made some food, and even finished 3 paragraphs of a new pitch deck. Only after that did I respond. What's this about? His reply came almost instantly. Your sister is about to be evicted, and your mother is falling apart. Fix it. No greeting, no accountability, just instructions like always. I texted back, they're adults. Let them deal with their own problems. About 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. It was my dad. His tie was loose, his eyes tired like he hadn't slept all night. He didn't look angry. He looked worried. Michael, he said softly. Your mom fainted at work. The hospital said it's stress. I didn't respond. She's not eating, not sleeping. She blames herself for everything. I looked at him and said, she should. For once, she should. He sat down on the bench outside my apartment, holding his head in his hands. You can't leave us like this. I shook my head. I didn't leave. You pushed me out. He stayed quiet for a moment, then looked up and said something I never expected to hear. We need you back. For the company. For the family. And that's when I understood. This wasn't really about my mom. It was about the business. And he had no idea what I had just finalized with their biggest competitor. You gave everything to Claire, I said, crossing my arms. She ruined it. Now you want me to fix it again? He hesitated. We didn't realize she would act like that. I let out a small breath. You didn't realize? He looked away. I'm not fixing things for you anymore, Dad. That role is already taken. He frowned. What does that mean? I pulled out my phone and showed him the signed agreement. The competitor's logo was right there on the screen. Clear and final. Regal Systems? He said quietly. You partnered with them? I nodded. They offered me respect. You gave me problems to clean up. He stood there like the ground had disappeared under him. They're our biggest rival, he said. They were, I corrected him. Now they're my team. You'll be lucky if they leave you any space in the market. He looked like he wanted to say something more. Maybe apologize, maybe argue, maybe even beg. But nothing came out. He just turned around, walked down the hallway, got into his car, and left. For the first time in my life, my father walked away without winning the conversation. That night, my sister called again and again, leaving voicemails. She was crying, blaming me. You ruined everything, she said. We're family. I listened to the whole message once, then deleted it. Family doesn't watch you fall apart and call it love. The next morning, Regal Systems released the announcement. Innovator Michael Grant joins Regal Systems as CTO of new AI division. I didn't share it. I didn't need to. I knew they would all see it anyway. That announcement didn't just get attention, it caused a storm. By noon, my LinkedIn inbox was overflowing. Old classmates, former bosses, investors who had once ignored me. Suddenly, everyone remembered who I was. But the messages that mattered most came from my family. Mom wrote first. Why didn't you tell me? Then Claire. You embarrassed us in public. Then Dad, short and direct. You made your point. Congratulations. But I wasn't looking for approval. I just wanted peace. That evening, I sat in my new apartment. My space, my rules. I made tea and stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker. It all felt different. I didn't hate them. I just didn't need them anymore. What they gave my sister through favoritism, I built through rejection. What they mocked as me being too emotional, I turned into strength. What they saw as weakness was just me staying quiet long enough to hear myself again. A few weeks later, I received one final email. It came from the board of my father's company. They were voting him out as CEO. I didn't reply, but I read it twice. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Just success that speaks for itself, without asking anyone for approval. That night, I stood by the window again, looking at the skyline, thinking about everything I had lost and how little of it I actually missed. My name is Michael Grant, and I was never meant to fit into that family. I was meant to move beyond it,